Good morning, guys. So yesterday I fucked up real bad. I clipped the median and fucked up my side skirt and a little bit of the rear bumper. So I'm gonna show you what's going on with the side skirt and we're gonna try to fix it. Assess the damage here. So, things aren't looking so good. Oh God. I still have most of it. Like there's just a hole there. Now I'm gonna get some gloves on and try to put this back together. Remember to wear gloves because fiberglass splinters are a bitch. Alright, I want to say this disclaimer early on. I don't actually know what I'm doing. This is just trial and error. So if you have any advice for me, feel free to write it in the comments or something because I'd love to learn more about fixing fiberglass. So the game plan for this is to use fiberglass to reinforce the back of the side skirt and then Bondo glass to go over the front. So this is my fiberglass cloth and this is the fiberglass resin. This works best when it's like dry and sunny outside, but like today is pretty stormy and cold, so it'll probably take longer, but that's okay. But I'm gonna put some Scotch tape on it. My friend Jay-Z recommended foil tape. I don't have any, unfortunately, so I'll be putting Scotch tape. I'm gonna tape this up, tape that, tape the cracks, tape this, and then we'll flip it over and do some stuff. Tape on most of the cracks, covering most of the cracks so that the resin doesn't bleed through. Now I'm going to try and flip it and hopefully nothing falls apart. I flipped it over and it stayed together, and you can actually see the cracks and the damage that we're gonna patch up. So I have a couple of long strips that I'm gonna put in for the long cracks. I have this big one for this, but it's not only gonna be those. I have smaller sheets that are about this size that are also gonna patch, especially this area. It's really weak, and so I'm gonna patch it in. Let me show you the resin mix. All right, so in the spirit of doing it on the cheap, I got a cut up cup to store the resin, and I haven't put hardener in it because the moment I put hardener in it, I gotta start brushing away. This is my brush. I've done this a few times, and every single time I use something like this. So proper budget. So the resin to hardener ratio is like 10 drops of this for every 6 tablespoons with a pinch of salt or something. I'm just kidding. I don't really care for that. I'm just gonna put hella hardener in and I'm gonna go at it. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna show you, but basically I'm gonna put a sheet on the cracks like this, dip my paintbrush into the resin, and then go like that. So I used up all the resin. So every time I mix it, I use it up in one go. And because if you leave it in the container, it'll just freeze up. This is the first layer. There's a lot of resin just right there, but that's okay. That's one of the cracks. Put about, I think, like 10 sheets overall. So you can see they're semi-transparent now because they're drenched in the resin, but all the way up here. So after this dries, I'll probably give it like an hour. It's getting a little bit sunnier, so I'll give it like an hour to dry. And then I'm gonna do another mix, make another brush, and then put this bigger sheet on top. Maybe go in with some smaller sheets. All right, I'm about to run out of daylight for today, but the first layer of fiberglass that I put down is now solid. I can touch it now, it's not sticky. I'm gonna put another layer of fiberglass on top of what I already have, just so it could be thicker. I went to the store and got some more fiberglass. I was going to buy Bondo glass, but they didn't have any. Bondo glass is more flexible than regular Bondo. I'll be using this. I got some primer and I caved. This was only $1, so I bought it. So this is day 2, and last night it was really cold, so some of it is still not dry. It's still sticky. You can see it's glazed, but most of it is dry and hard. I made a mistake of using too much resin, so now the side skirt weighs like 10 pounds. But and I also had to keep in mind that this area goes into the door sill, so I can't make it too thick. I can make this area thick and that'll be okay. So now I'm going to put it in the sun. But first, I'm gonna take off the tape. Oh, that's... I'm gonna use this sanding sponge, some 80 grit sandpaper for the roughest, and 120 grit second, and then I'm going to use 400 last. I'm just gonna go ahead and go at it and try to get all these surfaces as even as I can, take out all the high points, and then I'm going to apply some Bondo for the low points. I ended up having to use 50 grit sandpaper as well, and then I got lazy and broke out the sanding tool because it was a pain in the ass. Now this is what it looks like after it's been sanded. I tried my best to get all the high points out. I'm gonna use this wood platform to mix, and again this newspapered cardstock. I'm gonna use this as a mixer because I didn't buy the mixer thing. I'm gonna get the Bondo and put it in all the high points. This giant canyon here, those 3 places, and try to reconstruct this line as best as I can in there as well, and then leave in the sun to dry. All right. If you want to skip going through the instruction manual on how to use Bondo, I wrote it right here. So the Bondo has dried nice and solid. It only took about 30 minutes to dry, but that's because I put too much hardener. I'm going to sand it now. This wide angle to give you guys a better view. Look. Anyway, so that first go of Bondo was actually a lot better than I thought it was. After I sanded everything down, you can see the crack is now filled in. It's somewhat even actually. See, it's kind of flat. That's what you want. You don't want something like this. Can I zoom in? See that? You don't want that. You don't want those. Or this divot. See that? So what I'm going to do now is that I sanded it down, I washed it, I let it dry, no moisture, and I'm gonna go in again with more Bondo and fill in all the little poops. And I totally forgot to do those. And then I'm also gonna do the bottom. So yeah. So in this clip, you can see the mailman driving by, and he's the same mailman from yesterday, and he saw me outside doing this stuff. And so he says, "Having fun?" But then because of the loud mail car, all I heard was, "Want some buns?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I want some, I'm hungry." And then he just looks at me really weird, and I just realized he said having fun, and so he probably thinks I'm weird now. God damn it. So this is what it looks like after it's been sanded the second time and washed. You can see that most of the Bondo's gone. I sanded it all off. There's still a lot of imperfections, like little air bubbles and holes and things like that. I'm going to primer it so that it's all the same color, and then I'm going to go over the imperfections again, maybe with Bondo or with putty. So I took it inside, and here you can see all the little holes and blemishes. I used water-weld putty to cover up these holes. I actually don't recommend this stuff. I would just go over it again with Bondo, but now I'm gonna sand it down. I sanded it down with 400 grit, so it went 80, 120, 400, and I'm pretty sure some of the deep lines will still show, but hopefully my primer covers that up. I sanded too much here, and there's definitely going to be little holes and shit, but I'm so tired of this. I want to paint it already, so I don't care. Look guys, it's back in one piece. Alright, it's one piece, it's one color. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. I've done like small cracks on fiberglass before, but I've never done a piece that's been like just separated from each other. So this was a great learning experience. I hope it helped. Thank you for watching.